It's amazing what 16 pounds does. Hey!
Oh, we did it.
We did it. We're in a new place. This is exciting.
We're out of the ephemeral void.
Yes.
Into the real world.
I'm no longer in a little cocoon in my home office. Is the pandemic over? No, still not. But
I don't know if it technically is or not.
But we are out and about. We are at, can I just say beautiful, Faultline Brewery here in Sunnyvale, California. Starting off, trying to tour some breweries.
Cheers.
And thank you very much. We happen to be in the Bay Area, so we're taking in the sights and all of the libations that Sunnyvale has to offer. But with all that out of the way, welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 287. That number gets bigger and bigger every day.
Can you believe you've done this 287 times? Well, you haven't done it 287
I've done it
times.
like 285.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Your once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm Rett.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, usually some Star Trek. All super chats are read on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel, although I do encourage you, if you're going to leave a super chat, go on over to craftcomputing.store and get yourself some merch and actually get something for your money. Let me know about it in chat, and I'd be more than happy to throw that shout out as well. We do drink alcohol on the show, quite obviously, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat, and we'll give some early show shout outs as we go along. Last but not least, if you really want to help support the channel, consider joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to the Discord server where you can chat with myself, John, Rett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there. And can I just say, I've been drinking since 1.
You can say it, Jeff.
I can say it.
You can say it.
You can't because you'll get in trouble.
I haven't.
But
Jeff called me out the other day. I cleverly, I took May off from drinking any alcohol, and somehow, through Providence, managed to get all of my shows off for May. Thanks to John and Steve for covering for me.
It wasn't John and Steve. It was Radal and Veronica.
You're right.
Oh my
I'm so
gosh.
sorry.
Yeah.
How did I forget that? Both of you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Radal and Veronica. Honestly, screw Jeff. Screw John and Steve. Yeah,
wow.
Jeff.
Truth
Also,
is coming out
Jeff.
here.
Screw But Veronica and Radal, thank you so much for holding down the fort while I had other things to take care of. Including, I wouldn't have been able to drink a beer on that show, so.
That's right. So yeah, no, it all worked out conveniently, I might add.
It really was not planned to not be on the show.
Yeah.
I would have given Veronica more than a day.
Yeah. I honestly tried, but in both instances, it was like Wednesday morning you woke up and were feeling like absolute dog, and we're like, we need someone else on the show.
Well, and Radal's credit too, I was at work, and that was the day it was like 3:30, and I was like, hey man, I really got to go, family emergency. And you're like, yeah, no worries, I'll see about who can cover for you.
I'll figure it out, yeah.
So, figured it out in like 90 minutes, and before I even got home, you had it squared away, so.
Yeah, no, so that all worked out, and that was a lot of fun, getting to mix it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Whoa! All right.
We're on we got a flimsy little table here that's in front of us. So.
Glass literally just fell off the table. So, but the awesome staff here at Faultline's going to take care of it. I'm just going to blame the earthquakes.
Yeah, it's Faultline. We're on the fault line apparently. So
that's right. Anyway, why are we in California? This is obviously something completely out of left field for a lot of people, and actually, as of last Wednesday, we weren't planning on being in California.
No. Yeah, I think it was like Friday morning or something.
I think it was Thursday afternoon, Friday morning that all the details got ironed out. Anyway, so we are actually here to cover
AWE 2023. It's the Augmented World Expo. It is where the best and the brightest of augmented reality and virtual reality technology meet to exchange trade secrets and show off what they've been working on. So we are here thanks to our homies over at Nreal. Over at Nreal. Now it's Xreal, by the way, in case you haven't been aware about that. Xreal, creators of the Xreal Air, they invited us to come down and check out what they have in store next, what they've been working on, and we figured that we'd check out the rest of the show as well while we're at it. So
yes,
AWE 2023, the Augmented World Expo. Companies like Meta, Sony,
Epson, Rocket. Who else is here? There's a lot of people here.
A couple more big names I was trying to think of.
Basically, anyone who's anyone in the augmented or virtual reality space is here. And as Rett mentioned, we were asked by Xreal to come and cover them. And I figured while we were in town, we might as well check out the rest of the event as well and fly in a day early and drink beer since noon. So that's what we've been doing today.
And one of the cool things, too, I'll just say this really quickly, is that Faultline did not have to agree to host us tonight, but they were totally into it and were super gracious enough to set us up with a really cool corner spot in their gigantic restaurant. Yeah, check that out.
Yeah, so we're kind of in one of the back rooms here. You can actually see the bar and the brewery off to the right of the screen right there. So this is their actual brewing location. They've got vats that are 30 feet high that you can see from outside. It's actually a wonderful little corner property here. There's a little lake behind us. It's absolutely gorgeous here. And
ducks just walked in right before we pressed go.
Literally like 5 minutes before we started shooting, there were ducks walking into this room from the lake. It was amazing.
It was pretty cool.
So yeah, thank you to Faultline for having us here on very, very short notice.
Yeah, and you guys might expect a little bit, we just had our server come and hand Jeff a beer. Our server came over and helped Jeff pick up a set. So, we are in a public space, so please anticipate a couple of public-oriented distractions tonight. But we're going to do our best to soldier on regardless of whatever's happening around us. So,
exactly. No, we are not at Computex.
I know.
So...
Shut it. Who brought that up? I know.
No, we desperately wanted to go to Computex. It didn't work out this year. We will be going next year. This year was always kind of a maybe from both of us, but I think we are both in the position where we're making the commitment to go to Computex next year.
Yeah, if we can make it work 100%, that's the thing. We want to make it happen. So
exactly.
Just the pieces did not fall together quite right.
Anyway, as you can tell, we've kind of started the evening early. Rett, what are you drinking this evening?
I am drinking the Pink Boot Hazy IPA. It is a delightfully citrus-forward and very piney hazy IPA from Faultline Brewing, brewed right here in this location. So super excited. This is I just had this one a little bit ago. I liked it enough that I went ahead and ordered a second one. So big fan of it. I like hazies. Unlike some people here.
I love hazies.
See, that's what he says.
I love hazies that are not hazy just for the sake of being hazy. How's that?
This is a step away from that, I feel like. I mean, it's definitely got that, acid that you talk about.
A little bit of a bite, yeah.
But it's good.
A lot of German beers here, and I am very much a fan of German-inspired beers. And so I'm actually having their Belgian-inspired Tripel or Triple, depending on how you want to pronounce that. 8.6%, and holy crap, clovey, banana, figgy goodness.
Their Hefeweizen, I didn't order it, but Jeff had it earlier, and it was very, very traditionally German as well.
Yes.
That kind of comical sort of banana finish that some people love, some people hate, but it's very authentic.
Do you remember how I described that beer?
It's like biting into an apple and getting a banana.
Right. So I took a sip of the Hef and I went, oh, that's crisp. And I mean crisp, like biting into a fresh Granny Smith apple, only there's a banana inside that apple. That is very much what it's like. This is fantastic. I'm probably going to have something else along the way. They have a redwood ale that is delicious. Sitting right at about 5.5%. It's a delicious hopped red.
Yeah.
I like my malty reds, but I also love the West Coast, hopped reds. And
this one was maltier than that. It was like a Northwest style, but it was really malty, so it was nice.
Yeah, it really did have a nice, sweetened, thick finish to it. Anyway, we do have a couple super chats to start us off. Michael says, this could have been another brick in the wall. Welcome to the Australian time zone. I've been broadcasting at 6 for like almost a year now. Like, where have you been? But thank you for joining, Michael. And I guess those are 25 Aussie dollary dues.
Oh, no.
So I'll buy another pint. And Tech Geek chimes in off yesterday. Thank you for the super chat, Tech Geek. Off yesterday, today, and tomorrow for once, so I get to relax for a few days. Evening, Jeff. Screw Rett.
What?
That's what it says.
All right, I guess I deserve that.
Yeah.
A fellow pickle hater, I see, Tech Geek.
Yeah. Novella wants to know if I tried the Black Dragon Stout at Faultline. They don't have that one on tap right now, unfortunately. They do have a can of that, and I might leave with that. Okay, I did see that. They also have an ESB that's only in a can. But their stout right now is their oat stout. Haven't tried that one yet, although that might be a good nightcap for me. I've had their tropical IPA, which is very pineapple, very guava, very bright.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I wanted to call it. However, also on tap, they have this rotating
cask-treated beer.
Which means it is the beer that is served at 55 degrees Fahrenheit or cellar temp with no added nitrogen or CO2 for carbonation. And so Rett had the tropical, allegedly,
I did.
on cask, and wildly different.
Yeah, it was crazy. When Jeff had it from the keg, it was really bright, really fruity, floral, happy tasting.
Yeah.
When I had it from the cask, those flavors were a lot more muted. And it brought out, I think, like what I would say is like a rounder flavor, a little bit more muted.
Mm-hmm. There was no pineapple. There was none of the super bright citrusy
The fruitiness
notes.
was really gone.
Yeah.
Like the sweetness was there, but the fruitiness was gone.
Yeah.
The citrus was gone. So it was an interesting take on that.
Yeah. No, it was awesome to try them in literally both different styles, like the same keg, but two different ways. That's something you don't get to do very often.
Yeah. Here, BMW says Rhett's better half is drinking his beer from Coin Toss Brewing while he's away.
What?
Come on now. One of those is a pickle lager, though, so.
Oh, she can have that crap.
I also got a Hefeweizen and a cherry pie stout. So Coin Toss Brewing, if anybody hasn't had it, I think they're out of Corvallis. And they make my favorite pickle beer. It's called Cod in a Pickle. It's pretty good. Which is hilarious that that's topical because Jeff...
I did just blow Rhett's mind a little bit ago.
A little bit, yeah. We went down the pickle wagon because I was giving him some serious shade about this.
Yeah.
Because, like, how could a man have an opinion about the color of his onions, right? But
white onions
pickles.
are better.
That's fine. I almost could agree with that.
Especially on burgers. Screw red onions on burgers. Like red onions in salads, sure.
I'm kind of a yellow onion fan.
Yeah, I could see that.
But yeah, and he takes me down this road of nuances, like, oh, well, actually, see, it's not so much that I love or hate them. It's that, they're just exquisite flavors, and too much of them can spoil it, so I prefer to have a rounded experience, whatever he said.
Onions and cucumbers should be garnishes, not main ingredients, is what I said. And Rhett's like, screw you don't even like pickles. Meanwhile, I'm having tartar sauce with my fish and chips.
And the coleslaw, which has vinegar.
I didn't eat the coleslaw.
He didn't touch it.
I still
He
despise
took a
coleslaw,
picture of it, which I think let everybody believe.
which is a little disingenuous.
It was very
You're correct.
disingenuous. Everybody's like, wow, look at him. He's having coleslaw and fish and chips? Wow.
Right. But no, tartar sauce, which has relish in it, which obviously is pickle. It's because it is super well balanced. And yeah, there's a little bit of a vinegar, a little bit of a brininess to it, but it's not overpowering in any way. And it adds to the overall flavor. Whereas I feel eating a pickle is like eating something from the 1900s where preservation was more important than flavor.
But what's wrong with that? Do you like pickled anything?
No. God,
Do you like pickled vegetables?
No.
What's your favorite vegetable?
If you can call corn.
Have you ever had pickled corn, though?
No.
So good.
No. Pickled corn, I might. Like, I kind of get that.
Yeah.
But only because corn is so flippin' sweet.
Yeah. Technically, corn is a grain, but
It's a grain.
I'll count it.
Right. Like I said, technically speaking.
Man, alive. I just don't know what to tell you, man. Fermented foods are the best foods. Like,
I mean,
you love beer.
If I'm gonna ferment something, I'm gonna drink it.
But that's a way of, like, preserving things.
It totally is, but at least it's good. Don't pretend that you're gonna go home and drink a pint of white vinegar.
I'm so sorry. I love vinegar. I love pickle. When I wake up after a night of drinking, I drink a glass of pickle juice as my hangover cure.
I know, like picklebacks for Jameson is totally a thing.
Yeah, what's up with that? You don't like that? Have you tried a pickleback?
Of course not. Are you mad?
Man, the problem is this, is anybody other than Jeff, I almost feel like with you, with what you're giving me, I feel like I could push you over the edge, but I just know that Jeff is an immovable object in this sense, so.
You really can't.
I just get to flick him crap instead.
you really can't push me over that edge. Like, and to be fair, my borders do have bounds within reason.
Oh yeah, they were reasonable. I give him that.
There are two main hates that I have in my life. One is pickles and one is mushrooms. Cannot stand them. Mushrooms is more of a texture thing. But I also told Rett one of my favorite things in the world is P.F. Chang's makes these lettuce wraps with rice noodles and a little bit of chicken and some oils and things like that.
Oh yeah.
And one of the main things in that is super fine diced portobello mushrooms. And they're delicious. I don't have a problem with mushrooms as a flavor. And in fact, I love a good cream of mushroom soup as long as it's not chunky mushrooms inside of it. Like if it's completely pure and creamy, it's not a bad flavor. I do like, oh gosh, what's the noodle recipe?
Don't look at me. Don't know.
Oh gosh.
But see,
there's one with noodle and beef and mushroom. Stroganoff.
Oh, stroganoff.
Stroganoff.
Yeah.
I do like a good stroganoff as long as there's not like whole chunks of mushrooms, because with mushrooms it's the texture. I can't stand it.
See,
but I don't mind the flavor.
I love the texture of mushrooms. Like I used to, but I don't know. You know, I was kind of forced to eat mushrooms a lot as a kid. But dude, it's like the meat of the vegetable world. You know what I'm saying?
I know. And,
it's like I could replace a burger patty with a portobello mushroom cap, and I'm like good to go. Yeah, man.
No.
Doesn't get as pure as that. You know what I'm saying? Plus, over here in Oregon, we legalized lots of mushrooms.
I mean,
for therapy. So
I mean, if it came down to eating one of those, like totally, I'm on board. So.
I think a lot of people make them into like teas and stuff, so you could probably avoid the texture.
Right, and like I said, with mushrooms, it's mainly a texture thing. With pickles, it's absolutely just the abhorrent amount of vinegar and salt, and it's just not balanced in any way, shape, or form. Someone on the Discord earlier corroborated my opinion that if they put pickles on a burger, it's done. The pickles overpower every aspect of the burger. If you place the pickle on a burger and take it off, you can't unpickle the burger. It is forever tainted. And there's not a lot of ingredients you can say that about.
Sure there is. Bacon.
Yeah, but...
Oh, but bacon's good?
Yeah.
Of course bacon's good. But bacon flavor, that's why you can successfully substitute like bacon crumbles for like full-fledged bacon.
Uh-huh.
Because the flavor just radiates.
Can I blow everyone's minds again?
He's never had bacon.
Bacon is overdone. Bacon is so overblown as a flavor. Bacon is one of those I feel should be a garnish, not an ingredient. Like occasionally.
No, 100%.
I do like, a couple strips of bacon on a hamburger or a cheeseburger or whatever. But like you get these like quadruple bacon mushroom Swiss things. It's too much bacon.
Here's the question: where and how are you eating pickles that it is not a garnish? Yeah. Got him, boys.
No. My entire family loves pickles. At any point in time, we have 2 Costco jars of pickles in my fridge. And in fact, they can't open the jars by themselves, so they ask me to do it. And so my response is always, ethically, I don't think I should. As I'm cracking it open. My kids will eat just just crunch pickles.
Good for them.
All day long.
That's delicious and healthy for their gut.
I'm sure it is.
That's promoting some really good gut health right there.
Well, it's also killing the good bacteria. That actually helps.
No, it's not killing the good bacteria. It's promoting the good bacteria.
Yeah.
It's probiotic. Fermented food is good for your gut.
I don't know how you can kill the bad bacteria but not the good bacteria.
Well, you don't kill the bad bacteria without antibiotics.
Okay.
See, probiotics don't kill them; they just promote them.
Okay.
So you're just getting in there, and it's the good bacteria go, ooh, pickles, yum, 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 yum. And then the good bacteria help you feel good, and they're finding out more and more and more that you got neurons in your brain, sure, but you also have neurons in your gut, you have neurons in your heart, and so promoting healthy gut flora is actually just as good for your mental health and your mental faculties.
I don't know if you noticed, but the crows are circling right now. It's kind of freaking me out.
Because we're talking about food.
Right? Earlier we had ducks, now we've got crows.
Look at that guy.
That's a big boy.
When I worked up at Silver Falls, all of the ravens, not the crows, the ravens, which were just massive birds compared to the crows, all had names. You could identify them if you knew how to look.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy. And they all had personalities when you really watched them.
I was going to jump into the news, but you brought that up, and now I have to tangent because for years there was a Burger King by the place that I worked, and they had a crow who would surf the drive-through line. What he would do is he would fly onto the rearview mirrors of the cars, and people would give him fries and onion rings and chicken nuggets and things like that. And so that crow was like 3 times the size that a crow needs to be.
Yeah.
He was this giant crow, but it was the same crow every time. And he's like, I got this system down.
I like that. Good for that bird. Mm-hmm. Somebody says here that bacon should be a garnish, quote, counterpoint, bacon-wrapped dates. Have you ever had bacon-wrapped dates?
But see, bacon-wrapped dates are on such a small...
Yeah, that's true.
It is a garnish still.
See, I agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, like caramelized onions. The caramel is a garnish to the onion, and the onion is a garnish to the caramel.
Yeah.
So...
Somebody says, pickles are cucumbers soaked in evil. Get out of here. I didn't know there were such strong opinions about pickles. The number one fermented food on the planet.
The same people who love pickles are the same people who hate pineapple on pizza, and they're wrong on both counts.
That's just not... Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I was inserting myself into the argument. Maybe that's true. I don't know. Is it true for me? Absolutely not. Love pickles, love pineapple on pizza. Put cucumbers and pineapple on the same pizza back to back.
That's not that dissimilar from the pizza you had earlier.
No, actually.
What did you have on there?
Yeah, so it was a banh mi pizza, so it's like a Vietnamese style thing.
Yeah.
It was pulled pork.
Okay.
And it wasn't quite pickles, but it was definitely like a pseudo fermented like cucumber situation.
Yeah.
With pickled carrots and God, what else was on there? But that's a big thing in the Vietnamese and the banh mi is like the pickled fermented flavor. So I had that like vinegar flavor with pork and cheese and carrots and cucumbers and other stuff. I don't know. If the menu was in front of me, I could tell you, but it was really good. I devoured it way too quickly on accident. We had been here for quite a while, and I was trying to hold out to have some food right before the show so that I could coast through on it. But then the food came later than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Barely made it. I
am amazed.
He had one piece of fish before I ate my whole pizza.
I am amazed at the speed in which you ate that pizza. So Rett got a 10-inch pizza, not like a 6-inch or an 8-inch like personal pizza, but like a legit like medium-sized pizza that could feed a family of 3.
I legitimately, when I got it, I was like, how am I going to eat this whole thing?
And so Rhett's eating his pizza, and I'm like, holy crap, I got like 3 pieces of like this beautiful cod. I've got a little tartar sauce and a bed of fries and whatnot. And I'm eating the first piece of fish, and I finish the first piece of fish, and Rhett picks up his last slice of pizza. I went, holy crap.
So good. Novella Hub says, you've been talking food so long, I'm on my second beer, which is probably a sign that we need to get into some news. So
it might be, but you all know, especially live shows like this, where we're out and about, which we haven't had in a long time.
No.
We get into the weeds. In fact, we only put pretty much 2 stories into the tech news. But if we're going to get into the tech news, we might as well start talking about today's sponsor. And believe it or not, we still have a sponsor, and that is Linode. Thank you so much to Linode for sponsoring Talking Heads. Hosting your own servers also means you get to host all your own problems. Even the most skilled chief engineers will tell you you should decentralize your network. So why not host your services with Linode? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes software for most of the tutorials you can find on my channel, like how to run your own ad blocking, recursive DNS servers, VPN gateways, your own cloud-based Plex servers, and more. They offer shared CPU plans for as little as $5 per month and can scale as high as your needs go, whether it be virtualized hosting, dedicated enterprise GPUs, or NVMe block storage. Even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site. Because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode also announced they are expanding at light speed with 12 new global data centers planned before the end of 2023. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. Again, that's linode.com/craftcomputing, and a huge thanks to Linode for again sponsoring this episode of Talking Heads.
Thanks, Linode. No.
You're not gonna?
They've been paying me to not say it, so.
Okay,
whatever.
there you go.
You know, what are you gonna do?
No Linode jokes this time. No alliteration, no rhyming.
No, they asked me specifically to avoid all rhyming and alliterative jokes.
That's
so.
right. That's right.
Go to linode.com/craftcomputing or whatever you said.
$100 60-day credit.
Yeah, go there.
There you go.
Why host all of your own problems? Okay, I mean, Linode.
You've seen my server manager, and God, he set fire to the place.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's the bandwidth, sir.
So interesting thing. Obviously, we've been doing the merch for craftcomputing.store, which, by the way, go to craftcomputing.store, fill out everything you need for your home bar, and start drinking like a pro. So I've been doing a lot of that cutting on my Atzer diode laser, in which I built myself a shelf right next to my server rack. So it would be very easy to manage the laser, to keep an eye on it. And in fact, I have a virtual machine that's dedicated to running Lightburn to run the laser cutter. And so I can run it just by VNCing into that VM and then cutting whatever I need. And it's been great. The other day I needed to get up into my attic, and the stairs for my attic, the ladder for my attic is a foldable set of, the trifold ladder that
like
comes
from
out
Home
of the ceiling.
Alone.
Right.
Or the Christmas movie.
Sure.
With the attic and the holes in the attic and the guy who falls through them, and they drive the station wagon and Vacation.
Are you thinking of like 6 different Christmas movies?
Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation. Okay.
I can't believe I couldn't think of that name.
You literally said both of the words.
Yep, I did.
Anyway, I had to get that ladder down, and the server rack was always close, where I could get the ladder down, and if I kind of tweaked the ladder a little bit and then brought it down and then tweaked it back, it would set right in front of the server rack and I could climb up. The laser table doesn't let the ladder fold all the way down. So that was fun. Luckily, I have a secondary entrance, so I can get up on the roof of my house, on the back side of the house, and then we have a large vent that I can crawl through.
There you go.
So I can just
Handy.
unscrew that from the wall. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into some tech news. So I don't have any slides set up for today. Obviously, I'm streaming from my GPD WinMax 2, which is a 10.5-inch screen. So I wasn't going to divide that into 4 sections.
This is a punk rock show tonight.
That's right.
I think everybody can handle it after 286 episodes.
That's right. You just have to look at me, like maintain eye contact, Bo Burnham, prolonged eye contact. So, boy, I was not expecting to read this when I got off the plane today, but here we are. Asus, full of all of the negative press as far as consumer and business desktop PCs over the last year or so, and Gigabyte just did the greatest hold my beer in probably consumer tech history by it being revealed Gigabyte has sold hundreds of models of motherboards and potentially millions of affected customers by including a backdoor into a, quote, significant supply chain, or a significant segment of the supply chain. This is not good. So, obviously, shared passwords are bad, okay? I think we can all kind of agree on that at this point. If you encrypt something but everyone knows the key, then it's not encrypted. If it's all encrypted with the same key, then it's not encrypted. Gigabyte, it has been revealed, has basically included a BIOS admin password backdoor on all of their motherboards for pretty much the past 7 or 8 years. And those motherboards and those BIOS are vulnerable to a remote execution attack in which they can take over portions of the BIOS and get low-level access to hardware. This can be configured over HTTP or HTTPS, as long as the S is not a certified and signed certificate. If you have a business that runs on HTTPS without signed certificates, you are totally vulnerable. If you are a single, Gigabyte motherboard user, you're totally vulnerable unless for some reason you have a certificate authority. But according to Eclipsium, who is the primary whistleblower on this, it is difficult to conclusively rule out that it is a malicious backdoor planned from within Gigabyte, either by malicious insider or as a result of the company's systems being compromised.
Wow.
It's difficult to definitively rule out that the backdoor was planted somewhere in the supply chain. Now, this is all legitimately from a single source. And so, part of me wants to go, holy crap, let's throw Gigabyte under the bus immediately. The other part remembers a similar story about supply chain injection when it comes to Supermicro and their motherboards, which turned out to be patently and provably false, and only ever had one source, which was Bloomberg. And Bloomberg obfuscated their sources to the point of a source of a source of a high up someone of a source. And not only that, but tangible evidence was never found that chips were actually implanted with storage and networking capabilities. And even if they were, firewalls exist, and you'd never be able to exfiltrate that data without detection. And so there was, it was the perfect spy story. Of like, we injected a chip onto a motherboard, now we own the entirety of the global internet. But without any of the proof. So it made a salacious, definitely bloggable story. This one, software-wise, it's much easier to skirt things by because there's not a chief engineer overseeing the entire source development and checking everything. You've got an entire team who develop BIOS, and is everyone going to read over the million lines of code in the BIOS? Probably not. They're going to verify their checks and balances and verify that each department signs off on their particular code base, and then you move on. And so a software exploit, much more believable,
Right.
but is the password God? No, God wouldn't be up at this hour. And thank you to all who got that joke.
It is alive at Faultline Brewing.
Yes.
Hey, there's some people from the potential expo here.
That's right. Yeah. That was fun. Yeah, here for those who are just joining us, we are at Faultline Brewing in Sunnyvale, California. Beautiful little venue, and fantastic beer to boot. So
Very good.
Really can't complain about where we're at or the company we're keeping. Anyway, these are some pretty hellacious and scandalous accusations, if they prove to be true. And again, this is really only coming from a single source that everyone is quoting, and even the source is a little bit of a he said, she said, coulda, shoulda, woulda kind of man in the middle thing, where is this attack culpable outside of a lab environment, or is this actually a real world threat? UEFI rootkits have existed basically forever. As well as BIOS rootkits have existed forever. Look up the origins of Denuvo DRM, and you'll find rootkits that injected themselves into the BIOS of PCs to verify that you weren't playing Sony CDs that you didn't have a license for.
Right.
The greatest worry of mankind. But Eclipsium did publish a list of 270 motherboard models that indicate may be susceptible to this backdoor attack, and has reached out to Gigabyte to address the issue, which will all likely require BIOS and or firmware updates. So the exploit itself has not been revealed as far as what is the exploit. Is this a shared password? Is it a backdoor or is it a vulnerability? Because those are two very, very different terms. And the media is kind of picking up on backdoor when this may be simply vulnerability, or inherited trust, or you could pick up so many other vernacular other than backdoor and still have it be accurate as far as our knowledge is. But the fact that they're working with Gigabyte and not disclosing the issue tells me there is legitimately an issue. Tells me there is legitimately something to this. And if you run a Gigabyte board, you do probably need to worry, because as soon as this vulnerability is disclosed, there's going to be attacks written on it. But definitely not the news I expected to see when I got off the plane this afternoon.
Pretty big.
Zachary Salas says, risk is good. 4 times the speed of the Pentium. Veronica likes your shirt.
Thank you, Veronica. I stand by the message.
Yes. In fact, Veronica, right before, I think it was it Tuesday afternoon? Tuesday afternoon, I got in a couple of new shirts. I got your 321 backup shirt, and I also got Trackball Person in maroon red. And I am so freaking excited to wear that one. So vkc.sh, if you're interested in some of Veronica's merch, she definitely has some fantastic stuff available. I'm very much a fan of her 568B check sheet, as well as the Trackball Person shirt.
I thought it said crackball person at first.
Yeah, he thought it said crackball.
I did, legitimately, and I'm sorry. It's probably a fault of myself.
Just chalk it up to a kerning issue, and
we'll learn. We'll learn together. All right.
That went faster than expected.
They always do, Jeffrey. They always do.
That was delicious. Can we stop using backdoor and injection in the same sentence? Right. And that's where this whole thing kind of breaks down for me, is they say backdoor, but backdoor implies shared user password authentication and root level access to BIOS. Whereas injection is code injection, arbitrary code execution. Words, as I tell my kids all the time, words have meaning. And you can't disassociate words just to simplify a term. Because injection and backdoor and exploit and vulnerability, those are all very differently defined. Let me see. Can I get the tropical?
Tropical?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just busting. The server will come back around.
Yep, that's all right. I think he's going to take care of it. Yes. But backdoor injections are funny.
Nice.
Backdoor injections are fun.
Nice.
Backdoor injection crack smoke. That's not the kind of backdoor that Sus Aaron was talking about. This whole story is very much brand new, and honestly, there's not a lot of technical data to go along with it, other than there has been a vulnerability discovered that could affect 270 different models of Gigabyte motherboards, and will likely lead to BIOS updates. But is this a backdoor? Because backdoor is something completely different in that context.
Right. Words matter, folks.
Are they watching your live stream so they know when to get you a beer? No, they've actually just been fantastically attentive, and so they'll walk around. And first off, we've been here since like 1:45 this afternoon, and God, we had some onion rings that were delectably good. What else have we had here? A lot of beer.
Pizza.
Yeah, you had an entire pizza to yourself.
We've just been hanging out. We were talking with the staff and stuff before the show started, and like they're the ones that hooked us up with a spot over here where we got power, where we got internet, where we've got a nice view, where it's away from the music and the speakers that they're blasting sound over.
Yeah, there's no copyright takedown threats from where we're at right now.
Right. So,
they do have music and obviously TV playing pretty much in every corner of this place. Beautiful construction. I love the building.
Yeah, I do too.
The building is absolutely gorgeous. Poured concrete floors all throughout. They've got ramps and different levels that are all very well sloped and awesome looking. They've got curtains and can lights and all kinds fairy lights and things like that hanging everywhere. Mostly cedar construction from the looks of it. Gorgeous tongue and groove and beam cedar all over the place. It's fantastic. If I could build a set that looked like this, I absolutely would.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Yeah. Hop on over to craftcomputing.store.
There you go.
Make our dreams a reality.
Yeah. Exuded says, ceiling. I am a few sheets to the wind.
Ceiling.
Yes. German techno music playing? No, actually, it's been a lot of like the greatest of the 80s and early 90s. It's been fantastic. There was some TLC. What was it? Scrub was playing earlier.
Yes, it was.
Ain't gonna get. Yeah.
We got down to Scrub.
Yeah, we got down to Scrub. Yeah, so think of TLC Scrub and then hit random on Spotify, and that's pretty much the playlist that's been going on here, and it's been fantastic. I've been really digging the overall vibe of this place. But definitely hopping. Like I said, we've been here since about 1:45, and while it wasn't like packed when we walked in, it was a good, healthy kind of energy. And as we're getting into dinner time and a little later, a lot of people rolling in. Definitely a happening place, and the beer's pretty fantastic. So there we go. Novella Hub says ZFS Scrub. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cannot beat the service here, let me tell you.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. So this is their tropical IPA. It's about
No, we're doing another thing. We're doing a podcast. We're live right now.
Say hi, everyone.
They thought that we looked like the trivia booth.
Let's see. In fact, I think I can flip this around.
We kind of do look like the trivia booth. So.
There we go. Now say hi. Camera's at you.
Say hi.
Hello.
There we go. One person. Anyway.
There we go. This is a fun new camera. I've been really having fun with this. I can't tell you what it is yet, but it's been cool.
Yeah, we've been getting down with this one today. So nice and portable, compact, and gets around, literally.
Yeah. We're running this entire broadcast today on a single USB-C cable. I plugged in my laptop, which is the GPD WinMax 2, so I've got a 10-inch screen in front of me. We are encoding with AMD hardware encoding. We've got the Rode Wireless Go 2, so we've each got a microphone. And obviously there's some background noise that's happening, but at the same time, I think we're being picked up all the same.
Yeah, Skull said we sound good, so...
Yeah.
You know, and if there's a little bit of background noise, it's just the punk rock nature of the show tonight.
That's right. Did I just see Rev? No, unfortunately, we did reach out to Rev. He's still like 2 hours away from where we're at. So Rev is one of our mods, longtime mod, one of my longest tenured patrons on the server. And he's just a couple hours north of us still. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough notice. Like I said, we just found out like Thursday that we were going to be down here. So
that, and when you're not from a place, right? You look at a map and you go, well, that's just right there, but it's like a 2-hour drive.
It's a hop, skip, and a jump, but then you forget that California is 940 miles tall. And so you're looking at it and you go, well, it's just there on the map. Like, it's not that bad.
Heck yeah.
Yes. Audio's okay. You're clearer than the background chaos. Yeah, there's a lot of chaos in the background. There definitely is. It is loud in here. Hold on. My wife is calling me right now. So you're live on the air, by the way. It's Wednesday.
I will say goodnight.
Hi.
Nice. Nicely done.
I was going to call him at 8 o'clock after the show's done, and she started video chatting me. So I'm like, okay. Maybe she forgot it was Wednesday. Maybe she thought I wasn't doing a show. But either way. Video and voice sync is a bit off. Actually, I think that's a bit of an OBS problem. Let me resync that and see if that helps. In fact, that looks better on my preview now. One thing I will say is OBS sometimes with webcams has a tendency to drift the longer you go.
Yeah.
And so
after an hour of recording.
After an hour of being on the air, sometimes with a USB webcam, it'll desync a little bit. Because if you're running at 59.95 and then you're actually broadcasting at 60, 5 hertz makes a difference. Or 0.05 hertz makes a difference. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Yeah, no, that's what I should have done. Yes, the producer checks in. So So I don't know if anyone heard her, but I said, "Hey, you're live right now," and she goes, "Okay, well then I will say good night," and she hung up on me.
Classic producer behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Classic producer behavior.
Reverend says it's only 80 miles. Well, then I don't know why he's not here.
I used to commute 80 miles to work every day, but like I was saying, see, it's like, I know we're not in LA, but I was doing a podcast with a game developer from LA, and he was asking, well, how far are you from Portland? And I said, well, I'm about an hour, give or take. Some days it's better, some days it's worse. And he goes, hey, I'm from LA. An hour down here means a vastly different thing than it does up there.
Right.
I need miles.
Yeah.
I need the king's miles, friend. And so that just always change. Like, wherever I go, I'm like, what is an hour to these people in drive time? Like.
Yeah.
80 miles. I used to commute that, and that was like, that was like a 90-minute commute.
Yeah. No, I used to do almost 50 miles one way, and that was an hour and 5. Hour and 3 if there was no traffic, hour and 10 if there was.
Yeah.
Like it was like I had it down to a science and lane changes and everything.
Yeah.
And so it's
You're like, well, the light behaves this way after 3 o'clock, so.
right. Light behaves this way. You know what? This lane moves this way, and I need to be in this lane anyway, so I'm going to bypass all the left turners off of this street. And the fun thing about my commute was it was 50% highway and 50% city, and so it's not like I could bomb through a section.
Yeah.
You had to go through everything, and it was like 15 minutes of each, like in staggered sections.
Right. Oh boy.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So this again is the Faultline Brewing Tropical IPA. It's about 6.7%. Very, very citrusy. Very, very sweet citrus. It is very much pineapple, guava, passion fruit, mandarin orange. Like it's super. It's very juicy. It's very bright.
Could have got this in the cask.
Could have got it in the cask, although, dare I say, I like it better from the keg with CO2.
That's fine.
I really
I don't think
do.
there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, so Rett had one earlier where it was from the cask, and it was a wildly different beer at cellar temp with no added CO2.
It really was. Completely different.
But I like this one. I like my bright, citrusy sweet IPAs. It's very much a soft spot for me, and man, this is all of that.
I'm okay with that.
We do have another story to get to, and that is let's just say it's a quote from Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang. Obviously the focus this year at Computex has been...
Can I get the red ale?
Red ale?
Yeah.
Obviously the focus of Computex this year has been in AI, and really the writing's been on the wall for a lot of the consumer industry that AI is where a lot of the tech companies want to start focusing. Intel, AMD, Nvidia, they are all kind of shifting gears away from even consumer and even enterprise stuff as far as let's add AI engines and AI algorithms to our existing silicon so consumers, not even really consumers, but so enterprise can write bespoke applications to take advantage of AI processing within our individual nodes. And that's been a trend that's been building since NVIDIA introduced CUDA into the mix. Later on, tensor cores, which the tensor cores were the AI cores and why everyone always needed to buy Quadros and Tesla cards. And now, though those tensor cores and the RT cores, the ray tracing cores, have made their way into even consumer hardware. And they're saying, how can we take advantage of AI processing both at the consumer level and at the enterprise level. So if we're going to devote so much energy into enterprise R&D, we can still get something out of it on the consumer side, which is why we now have ray tracing, because it's all AI. AI goes all the way down the stack. But Jensen, in his first
Keynote.
since 2019,
Yeah, before COVID.
has a quote from Computex about the current state of AI, and it might catch some people off guard and kind of. Let's just read it. Quote, when asked about Nvidia and AI and why they're investing so much and what is the future of AI, Jensen Huang said, agile companies will take advantage of AI and boost their positions and boost their position. Companies less so will perish. Huang told graduating students, according to excerpts of his speech by Bloomberg. Quote, while some will worry that AI will take their jobs, someone who is an AI expert will. And I'm looking for the food quote. Where was the food quote at? Oh, yeah. Either you are running for food or you are running from becoming food. That's some pretty draconian BS.
Yeah.
Straight out of the gate.
You got to come at it from a viewpoint like Nvidia. Like I turned on the news this morning in my car and I was driving around and it's like everything on NPR and all this was about Nvidia's market cap going up, and they have taken their position as the 6th largest company on the planet, behind companies like Apple and so on.
Yeah.
And they are comfortably dominating as a chip manufacturer. Thank you so much. And we good?
We good. We have 85% battery.
Hell yeah, we do. Hell yeah, we do. Thank you, Rhodes.
Thank you, Rhodes.
Thank you, Randy Rhodes.
I don't know if that's who did it, but these things are amazing.
Randy Rhodes is the original guitar player, I think, for like Ozzy Osbourne. You know, like Crazy Train. I think.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Anyway, point being is
Country Road.
No, Crazy Train.
Okay.
Country Road.
You said
Country
Road.
Roads.
Yeah.
Randy Rhodes.
That's what I was doing.
Okay, just get out of here. No joking or having fun on the show while I'm talking. You're going to confuse me.
Rett has drank way too much to understand any of this.
Like I was saying, Nvidia, this is the talk of a person whose company has firmly taken their position at the top of the food chain.
Top of the food chain of the AI realm.
Because he's thinking about what else can I say to get another 5% market cap? What else can I say to get more investors?
You're either a shark or you're a sheep.
Yeah, what are you? Exactly. And while
sharks are winners.
Well, I think it's kind of true. And one of the things that really apparently blew the socks off of people at this big keynote address from Nvidia at Computex was this demonstration of their new AI engine. I think they call it Nvidia Ace or something like that. I don't have it in front of me, but Nvidia Ace, which was like their AI game engine. All of a sudden now they're promising you can have real conversations.
Omniverse, multiverse, metaverse,
Avatar Cloud Engine.
Yeah.
Omniverse Ace.
It is Nvidia's version of the metaverse.
And their idea is that this is something
you can tell totally took off.
Right. They did a demonstration at Computex of like somebody talking like, oh, hello, I'd like to buy well, I didn't see it. I don't know what it is. But right, it was supposed to be a video game demonstration. I'd like to buy potions. And like, well, screw you. We don't sell potions at this establishment. But I'd be happy to make it. I don't know what they said. But anyway, the point being, somebody talked to them in real time. The AI responded to them in real time. The AI was having a conversation with the player. And
live, unprompted,
Right.
unprogrammed
Right.
conversation about the game universe.
Right.
And there's been some chatter, and there's actually been a couple mods released that you can do this in Skyrim.
yeah.
With the help of ChatGPT as well as voice models
Right.
of all of the different voice actors and characters that are within the game. And so you can ask your housecarl, Lydia, where she trained,
Right.
and she will give you a verbose explanation of why she became a housecarl and what is her role within the kingdom of Whiterun and why she is your steward and chooses that life
Right.
and everything else. And it's a really weird but very interesting.
Well, right, and I think what's more is like, so this quote about food. You will either becoming the food or eating the food, or whatever he said.
You will either be running to get food or
Right.
running to
And that's
not become
and that's
food.
what all of these companies are really viewing AI as, right? He's saying it's a gold rush right now. Who can go and capture the gold? Who can go and take advantage of this new resource? And of course, you have to say that before people can begin to say, like, well, wait a minute, what are the drawbacks, right? Because if you can go and talk with Lydia in Skyrim about whatever it is that you want to talk about and say, well, geez, how did you become so prominent in Skyrim? And all of a sudden you're having a conversation. Guess what? A lot of conversations in real life are not all that interesting. You know what really stands apart from conversations in
Case in
video
point.
games? From video games to real life, every conversation in a video game is interesting. It points somewhere. It does something. Because somebody wrote it with the intention of making the game fun.
Yeah.
Now, if you're having a real conversation prompted with some sort of AI engine...
Hey, how was your day, Lydia?
Right, right. Oh my God. What do you want to have for dinner, Lydia? Well, I don't know. And it's like all of a sudden, there's so many
Giant's
drawbacks.
toenail again.
And the thing is like you're thinking about this from Nvidia. Of course, they want you to buy in 100%.
Yeah.
Remember when Radiant AI was the new hotness? Bethesda had produced this new AI thing that they were going to implement in Oblivion. Radiant AI, the NPCs are going to be able to live their own lives, perform their own tasks, independent and free of the player. And what they found with it was that it was too smart. They had all of these wants and needs, and sometimes if their wants really were too high or their need was too high, the lengths that they would go to satisfy it would be pretty crazy. Like if a guy really wanted to sweep a street and the player had come by in the middle of the night and stolen his broom, his need to sweep the street would outweigh whatever
morality,
and he would go and kill somebody to take their broom.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everybody's killing each other to take their brooms.
You'd wake up, there's a random dead villager in the street, and the guy's sweeping up going, I didn't see nothing.
Right. That was a huge drawback that they had from this really popular big technology advancement that they were pushing constantly. And eventually they ironed it out, they smoothed it out, they really had to tone down the wants and needs. And there were mods that expounded upon that and brought that back out. Like the 000 mod was a really, really big one back in the Oblivion days that brought out that. And with 000 mod in a certain aspect, there were sometimes you could go to clear dungeons and NPCs had already cleared the dungeons before you because they were living full lives free and
I'm
independent.
uncomfortable how close we are to Morrowind right now.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm trying to get us there. Okay?
I know.
We
I
took
know.
us from Skyrim. I brought us to Oblivion.
I went
and I'm gonna
Skyrim
take
and I
us-
went, oh God.
I'm going to take us safely in for landing back to Morrowind.
How many Kevin Bacons are we away from Morrowind?
You want to hear one of the first things that I saw for ChatGPT, the ChatGPT sort of like voiceover engine thing you're talking about? It wasn't for Oblivion. It wasn't for Skyrim. Somebody programmed Dagoth for Morrowind to have conversations with people programmed by ChatGPT.
Yes.
So it was cool and interesting.
Tech Geek chimes in, $5. Thank you very much, Tech Geek. No jokes or fun while I'm talking.
Yeah.
Rett.
No jokes are fun while I'm talking.
I love that they know your last name.
Well, it's because it's my YouTube handle, unfortunately.
I know.
It's
Isn't your YouTube handle still Rett is Awesome?
No.
I thought it was.
I don't know how to change it.
Rett must run a tight ship at the office.
I really do.
He tries. Skyrim GPT.
See, look, chat publicly is Rett Weisenfels.
Okay.
What are you going to do?
Wow.
Originally, my handle on YouTube was...
You got sucked into the YouTube, let's use all of our real names and all the trolling will go away.
No.
And all of a sudden my real name was Bodie McBoatface.
No. My original username on YouTube was Rett is Awesome. Mm-hmm. And when I tried to join Google+...
see, that's where they got you.
I tried to join Google Plus years ago, and it converted my YouTube handle to Rett Weisenfels, and it never let me change back. So I just never worried about it. I said, screw it. I never post or do anything on here that I don't stand by. So,
right?
Including no jokes or having fun while I'm talking. Fun is outlawed from Faultline Brewery. No, I'm kidding.
Right. No fun here. No fun zone, especially with their...
delicious and delightful beers.
Belgian Trapel or this delightful tropical IPA.
Or even this bold and flavorful Northwest Red Ale.
He's not standing here. You don't have to.
Who?
The waiter.
I know. I'm talking to them.
Talking to them? Okay.
Those people.
Those people. Okay. Gotcha.
Well, who else would I be talking? I could tell that the waiter's not here, Jeff.
He talks like this all the time. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah, I gotta always be
Hey,
on.
Rett, how's it going? Well, I'm just having this bold, crisp red ale from...
I'm sorry. You know how hard it is to be on all the time? I don't know when Jeff's rolling cameras at the office, okay? I don't want to look like an idiot, okay? You know? So I just keep it on.
So it ends up looking like MTV's Real World Season 1, where the camera kind of comes in and out of focus, and Rhett's like, I always do this. The foundation to every day is a healthy breakfast.
Thanks, Cheerios. Have you seen Real World Season 1?
Season 1? Yes.
Wow. This guy, am I right? Kind of lacking in taste.
I didn't say when I saw it. I just said that I've seen it.
Oh boy. He watches Real World. I didn't say when I watched it. I was a full-grown adult. It was just a couple weeks ago.
I was not. I was an adolescent still.
Oh wow. Can't be held responsible for back then, am I right, guys?
That's exactly right.
Anyways, this whole AI thing is kind of wild, and like I was saying, the idea is Nvidia has to strike while the iron's hot. They're the sixth largest company on the planet, and they got to make you believe that their product, their technology is the future, so they can become fifth largest company on the planet. Mm-hmm. There are holes in it. I talked about the boring conversations. But one of the other things that they were talking about in my game dev Discord is this idea that it's like consumers are not going to have the compute power to run these AI, programs or algorithms on their PCs. That's going to be cloud compute. So you're going to buy Elder Scrolls 7 and you're going to want the AI voice engine or whatever it is so that you can talk about the weather and their birthdays and what they want for dinner.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to sign in to Bethesda.com or whatever it might be, and you're going to have to always be on.
Have a constant cloud connection, and then when they decide to stop running that service ends, and that game ceases to function, at least in the bounds of what you expected it to do.
Right. And I think that's a huge bummer because, number one, already no one really likes always connected gameplay for single-player games. Ubisoft gets a lot of crap for this. All of Sony's ports get a lot of crap for this. People just want to play single-player games. We want DRM free. We want all of this sort of stuff. And that doesn't mean that we're pirating it or we're stealing it or whatever. It just means that we want the hassle-free implication of owning or possessing the thing which we paid money for.
I buy so many games, and if the game to me is worth keeping, if it has an always online DRM, I will download a cracked copy later on.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be beholden to that.
Right.
And honestly, DMCA be damned. Oh crap! I'm still on YouTube. I feel it's within my right. Like I bought a license to the software. I didn't, and while I accepted the license agreement of, I will always be online and connect to EA servers, Scout's Honor. I've always felt a little disingenuous because I know at one point if that server goes offline, I'm going to find a way to crack it.
Look, all of the user agreements are garbage anyway because nobody really reads them.
Nobody really reads them. Almost none of them are enforceable in court.
Right.
If you go to court, it's through arbitration anyway. And so if EA wants to take you to court for breaking license agreement, they've also agreed to arbitration. Remember that.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge drawback of what we're looking down with the barrel of this AI stuff. And somebody in my Discord server said this, and maybe you think that AI is the future of games, and I will wait to see myself. I don't really know. Jeff and I have talked a lot about how AI and all of these new use cases can be implemented by smaller teams to do bigger and more ambitious projects, to cut project times down. And I think that that's an interesting and cool use case. As far as implementing in the game, I'm gonna wait and see. I'm still I'm not on widescreen yet, so self-confessed widescreen Luddite here.
We've talked at length about AI and the implications when it comes to gaming, but specifically when it comes to the implications of game development. And while I don't think it's right that an AI would take the job of an artist who would curate an individual experience, I also feel that AI as a tool set should not be ignored by either the artist or the developer, because
you're either getting food or you're running from
from being food,
right? So
and look, if it were up to human development alone and not the development of languages, we would all still be running BASIC. Games are not programmed in BASIC. I don't know if you knew that. And so the development of C++ and the development of platforms like Unity and Unreal and things like that are new tools that developers can use to their advantage to tell the stories they want to tell and envelop a player in environments they want to put them in. Drawing the line at AI feels like a very arbitrary line.
Yeah.
And saying, no, we're never going to cross that threshold. We're already there, and if you're not crossing the threshold, and if you're not using that as a tool set, you're falling behind.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's anything wrong with algorithmically developed terrain or planets.
Unless it's in No Man's Sky, then he has a problem, but
I only had a problem because it didn't work.
It worked for me.
Yeah, mile wide and an inch deep.
That's fine. I played the mile deep games, my friend.
Right, but this one was promised mile wide and mile deep, and it wasn't.
Yeah. We've had this conversation 1,000 times.
But it also took you 13 hours to find out there's nothing once you get off the surface.
You say that all the time, and I just want to say, how on God's green earth did it take you 13 hours? And that's fine.
Because
you took your time, you experienced the game, you had fun, you explored and played, you didn't rush it. I get it. But it doesn't stop me from thinking.
If a game promises like 100 hours of gameplay, I'm not going to rush through the story and try to beat it in 5. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go, you know what, if they promised 100, I'm going to stretch this to 2. And yeah, I could see the objective out there to, finish building my ship and doing this.
Do you not think that if they say we have 100 hours of gameplay and you go into it expecting to get 200 hours of gameplay, that you have set yourself up for failure? 100 is not 200.
I know it's not. But you may have a slight point there. But games that expect me to take my time, I like to take even more time with. Games that I get into, and it's like, it's a 10-hour campaign, I might take 12.
Yeah.
Games that say they're 100, I'm going to get into the weeds because I know there's nothing I can do to accelerate that. All I can do is enjoy the ride.
Sure.
And so, yes, there's a little bit of that, but you have to see the counterpoint of like, if I'm going to be here, I might as well be here.
As a person, as your friend who's heard this, I totally get what you're saying.
We've had all these conversations offline, though.
I totally get what you're saying.
With way more cursing.
And they've seen the conversations on the show before, too. I get what you're saying. I really do. I just, I reject a lot of the criticism that No Man's Sky gets just on principle.
I reject it today. Did I reject it at the time? No. I tried to get a refund at the time.
Yeah. And you know what? If you had played for 90 minutes and felt gypped, that's an awful word. Sorry, guys. If you had played it for 90 minutes and had felt unsatisfied, a refund, you could have been within your rights. But 13 hours you got out of it. That's more than I've got out of a lot of games.
That is true. But again, I was kind of promised infinite building, and for a lot of those 13 hours, I was like exploring that one planet, trying to get the most out of it, finding new resources, but all I ever found was aluminum and uranium. And I'm going, there's got to be something deeper in this cave. And I kept diving deeper, and it's like, nope, just more aluminum. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, look, a copper deposit. Cool. Like, I don't have enough of that. And so I was kind of taking my time, but at the same time,
I get it.
I could have gotten off world in 90 minutes and discovered the same thing. So the fact that I took my time doesn't necessarily not implicate the game as far as bait and switch from the trailers either.
Yeah. I mean,
Let's go back and look at the trailer that Sean Murray put forth as far as the curated, welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yeah. And everybody always brings this one up.
Did you ever see that video? It was amazing.
Of course I saw the video.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw it with the sad horns.
Yeah, with the sad horns.
Yeah.
That was a staple. Like every Thursday at my office, someone would play that video. It was great.
Yeah, it's interesting. The whole timeline on it is kind of interesting to me, and I haven't done the due diligence that I need to in this, but I have thought for a long time that my own recollection of the timeline of promises versus what they showed in the showcase versus all of these things were not exactly what the public consciousness had picked up on.
Also, you have to get behind the Sony hype machine that was No Man's Sky as like, we're bringing indie games into AAA form factor.
Yeah.
We are infusing these studios with cash. Oh, by the way, you better deliver this now. And they're like, we're not ready. And they're like, we said now. And all of a sudden you're delivering a game that's literally a beta of even an alpha of what you wanted it to be.
You know what's crazy though? I have paid more money for worse games than what we got on day one of No Man's Sky.
I will say that too, but I also tried to get refunds for some of those.
Yeah, but I'm talking like before refunds was a thing. I'm talking before I don't know.
You're right. I have paid high dollars for like Superman 64. For StarCraft 64. And
StarCraft 64 was good.
Whoa.
64 was good.
No.
Yes, it was.
You just didn't have a PC.
No, I had a PC, but I also had an N64.
I also wanted to see more than 6 pixels for an SCV.
It's weird because my memory of like playing Brood War and playing StarCraft 64 are the same, except I had more fun playing N64 with my friends on the TV in my living room.
It's because none of your friends were good enough to own PCs.
It's not that we weren't good enough, it's that we were all really broke.
That's what I meant.
I mean, we had all of the same things. I could play football. I had a bunch of mods built into StarCraft 64. I had split screen multiplayer.
Yeah.
The campaign mode was there.
Okay, yeah, you're right. No, the full campaign, all 3 stages. Let me get a pink boot. Pink boots.
I have never once played a campaign of an RTS on the PC, but I have played StarCraft 64's campaign. I have played RTS camp. Oh, and I played Warcraft 2's campaign on the PlayStation 1. But I never played other campaigns on PC.
You probably played Diablo on PlayStation.
No, I played that on PC.
Okay. Oh, thank God. I was really worried I was going to have to find another editor.
But I do think that Xbox's version of Morrowind is the definitive version of Morrowind. I do. You're all lucky that when I made the Morrowind video for Craft Extra, that it wasn't just Xbox screen capture.
Xbox screen cap. Oh God.
I thought about it. I don't
know that I could live with myself if I allowed that to hit air.
It's better. It runs. Here's the deal, though. Modern day Morrowind. The experience is getting better on PC than it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then 10 years before that, it was great because it ran native and there was no issues, there was no problems.
Yeah.
But in like 2013, it was kind of difficult to run Morrowind successfully on your PC.
Yeah.
But I had been playing it on my Xbox originally, played it on my PC briefly. It went out of style on PC. And it was really difficult to get mods to work, to get all this stuff to work. I had constant crashing issues, especially if you're running it on Steam. Steam Overlay would just crash Morrowind like instantly.
Yep.
And so I would play it on my Xbox, you know? Thank you so much. Because it was stable, it worked. We
should do more shows at tap houses.
I know, they just bring you beers and stuff. And on Morrowind, there was some frame drops and stuff like that, and load times were pretty bad. But load times weren't great on PC before like 5 years ago, anyways. You know, like
he's not wrong.
Before OpenMW came, which is a full Morrowind engine that runs natively on modern systems.
Yeah.
Runs Morrowind. Load times were abysmal. Now they're good. Like OpenMW is optimized for modern systems. So
yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. Plus, honestly, the interface and everything on Xbox was just so much faster than PC. Like when you think about the interface for Skyrim,
the load times and the UI interactions were faster in Morrowind on the Xbox than they were on PC.
When you play Skyrim on PC, the UI is pretty intuitive and it's pretty simple, and you can jump back and forth between a gamepad or your mouse and keyboard pretty easily and have no problems. But it wasn't that way on Morrowind. In fact, like the kind of typical RPG control scheme that we have now because of games like Oblivion and Fallout 3 and so on, it wasn't really a thing. Like E is the action button. That wasn't Morrowind. Space was the action button. Like right click as like your shield or your right hand.
Control was still crouch.
Right. Was it?
Yeah. Or no, it wasn't.
C or Z or X or something.
Yeah, no, it was C was crouch.
Yeah.
Control was something different. Because
and right click.
Control might have been attack.
No, I don't know about attack, but right clicking opened your menu, your inventory, and your spells and your map.
If you
and
go
all that,
into 90s FPS, where you're using the arrow keys for directions, and so forward, back, left, right.
Right.
And I mean like turn left, turn right. Your right hand's not on your mouse. Your left hand was on Control Shift Alt ZXC. And so often those were the controls. So Shift was always sprint and always will be sprint. Space was activate.
Right.
Space was what we know E to be today.
Right, yeah.
Control often was primary fire with Alt as secondary fire.
Right.
C was crouch, X was jump, and Z was activate. and Z was something else. It was weird. It was weird back then.
Yeah. I mean, I've been looking at doing a video on Gothic 1 and 2. And you want to look at like where the deviation for like modern control schemes happen. Look at Gothic 2 versus Morrowind. They both came out the same year. Morrowind's control scheme took off a little bit more, was more popular. Gothic was this really weird, like bastard child of control schemes where you would use the arrow keys to move and run and turn. Like forward was this, left would like physically turn your body.
Yeah.
And all that. And then to engage with the world, you held the control key and then tapped the arrow keys for different things. So if you wanted to open a chest, you'd hold control and press forward. And that's how you would attack. You'd have your sword out, you'd hold control, press forward. Or you could press left or right and it would swing your sword different directions, you know?
Yeah.
And compare that control scheme, you know, the arrows versus WASD and mouse for Morrowind and Oblivion and so on.
Yeah.
You know, and those two games, Gothic 2 and Morrowind, came out the same year, and they were both arguably very big titles. But Gothic suffered a little bit from like, you know, what you kind of consider these days is like the Eurojank aspect, right? It's just like slightly less familiar to Western audiences and like in terms of the control scheme and maybe even the content, I don't know.
Right.
Than Morrowind was, which was made by an American game company. Gothic was a great game with a lot of great content and a lot of great ideas, and really, but the execution and the implementation and the way that the player interacted with it was not necessarily like I think what an American player was used to, and so I don't know. And it's kind of wonky and it's kind of janky and it's kind of weird, but like it's still a great game, you know. And supposedly Gothic 3 holds up. Supposedly that game was like supposed to be incredible, especially like after a couple patches and some like expansions and stuff. But I could never get the dang thing to run on my PC ever.
I did play Gothic 3 and I thoroughly enjoyed it as kind of one of the early modern role-playing games.
Right.
So obviously you have games like Diablo and Black and White that kind of define what is a role-playing game on the PC. What do you want? What do you expect out of it? What playtime do you want to get out of it? No, it was always enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve said that Gothic had apple tobacco, so it was far superior. And I remember like pitching Gothic to my friends, and I was like, "Look, in Gothic, you can smoke weed," because they had swamp weed. That's what they called it. Mm-hmm. And the people that lived in the swamp would just hang out and smoke swamp weed all day.
How did we? Hold on. Did tracking get in it? Hold on. Yeah, it's tracking Rett.
Me, yeah!
Ah, no!
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
Hold on. We'll get back. There we go.
Sorry.
All right. It was funny because earlier it would only track me. Like if both of us were in the scene, it was like, no, I like Jeff more. No, and there it goes again.
Whatever, I'm happy to be center.
All right, so we're reviewing this camera right now.
Kren says, I've been a PC gamer my whole life because my family would never buy consoles and my mom hated violent video games, aka shooters. So it wasn't until I was in high school that I played them. And what's interesting is like, I was a console game player kind of for the opposite reason, right? Like, you know, I think like buying a Nintendo was cheaper than a PC and you had access to all this stuff. But I started getting into PC games when I was older, like in middle school, because my stepmom had a computer, and when I would get in trouble in school, she would ground me from playing video games. But in her opinion, video games and computer games were not the same.
Right.
So I could play.
My parents were kind of the same way, where it's like, can I play the Nintendo? And in my case, it was like the Nintendo,
Right.
or sometimes the Super Nintendo. And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, can I go get on the computer? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
that was my childhood. So it's like, is there any doubt why I'm a PC gamer? It's because I had unfettered access to the PC, where my console access was very limited.
Right. And I couldn't play my console games, but I could go and play Age of Empires for hours and hours and hours. So, which is like, it's a video game. It's a freaking, nobody watching this thinks that Age of Empires is not a video game, but for some reason my stepmom had it in her head that computer games on average as a whole were more educational and less entertainment, which might have been true at the time, but you still had lots of games that probably weren't, I don't know, but all the games I'm thinking of that I played and had access to definitely had elements that were not quite present in console games at the time. Like thinking of Thief, thinking of the whole system in Thief with the guards and dousing lights and doing all that.
Yeah.
Half-Life 1.
I'm thinking of like even all the way back to like Tank Wars with geometry and bounce and trajectory and whatnot. Yeah, no, there's definitely a point to early console games were focused purely on the physics that exist within that world.
Like the platforming became popular.
Right.
And that was a game. There was no educational benefit. If you're jumping as Mario, that was fun. That was a game. But if you're figuring out how to harvest wheat to get cavalry to go and duke it out with the Britons, well, that was educational.
That's right. It's historical. I'm recreating battles of worlds past.
Yeah. One game I loved, Black and White. You had to train your godly animals to behave in the ways that you wanted them to behave. Yeah. That was educational for some reason. Just slapping the crap out of your animal when it misbehaved,
We played wildly different versions of Black and White.
You don't remember slapping your animal?
I don't.
Well, you could pet it when it did stuff you wanted, and you could slap it.
I remember that, but I was a better person than you.
Well, I did the evil playthrough and I did the good playthrough.
Okay.
The black playthrough and the white playthrough.
I definitely have an evil femshep playthrough.
Exactly, of course you do.
Yeah.
You were talking about Red Dead Redemption. You're the only person I know that had a dishonorable ending. How could you do that to Arthur? How could you do that to Arthur? And you're over here chastising me slapping a fictional animal from Black and White?
You're goddamn right I am. So what's really funny is I'll go through two different Mass Effect playthroughs. Mass Effect on the... If I'm playing as a male shep, is always Paragon.
Why is this? Let's get to the deep-seated issues here.
I don't know. But when I'm playing as femshep, I am evil AF. I am like, I don't care about you. I don't care about your kids. I don't care about your family. I care about me and what's mine.
You didn't even reverse the genophage as femshep. You're just like, nah, screw the Krogan. I don't want them to come back from the brink.
No, the Solarian was right. We really do need to put the hammer down and make sure this doesn't evolve.
And then at the end of Mass Effect 2 for the suicide mission or whatever, you're just like, screw them all. I don't need my party for Mass Effect 3.
Fuck them. That's exactly right. The only one who survives is Garrus.
Of course.
Like, that's it. Everyone else, good as dead.
Oh, yeah, you save the cop as femshep? Well, you really do the evil playthrough.
I kill Rex in Mass Effect 1.
Oh yeah, you can just
off
obliterate
him.
Oh my god, I did that, dude. The first playthrough, I forgot all about this. My first playthrough, I was trying to put Rex in line, and you just whip him with the gun, you blast him, and he's dead. And I was like, okay, reload that save.
Nope. No, I let that stand.
Oh my god, Rex is my favorite character. So
I'm like, fall in line, and he's like, the hell I will, and you're like, okay.
that was jarring.
Your decision, not mine.
That was jarring. You know, I gotta say, Mass Effect was one of the only games I saw a commercial for that I wanted to buy afterwards. I saw a commercial on cable TV, and I was like, holy crap, that game looks amazing.
Yeah. I will say...
And I did never buy it, but I did play it.
And I don't know why. I don't know if it's the voice actors. I don't know if it's just inflections in speech or whatever else, but... when I get a Mass Effect game, I will usually go through as male Shep, and I will be paragon among paragons. I will be the, of course I will help recover the remains of your dead loved one. Of course I will bow to the council and do what's good for and just for the galaxy. And when I'm Fem Shep, I'm like, I deserve to be a Spectre. Yeah.
Yeah, I just, I don't know. I do both.
Yeah.
It's not tied to anything. I just go, well, I want to do a Paragon playthrough. I want to do a Renegade playthrough. Just like KOTOR, you know.
Oh, yeah. I see now what you were pointing to.
Oh, yeah. Rogue One's on.
Yeah.
The best of the Star Wars movies.
Right. So... yeah, here's where we're at right now. And on the TVs to the left there, they're playing Rogue One, which is awesome. I'm so stoked by that.
Anybody disagrees with my No Man's Sky take, want to talk about Star Wars?
No, because I agree with you about Rogue One.
Cheers to that. And you still haven't finished Andor.
I'm on episode 3. No, I finished episode 3. I'm on 4.
That's where it gets good.
I know.
That's where it gets good.
My problem is it is such a slow burn at the beginning. Like they come out of the gates shooting, and I mean that very literally.
First episode's good.
But then I'm like, okay, I'm like 7 minutes in, and I'm like, holy crap, this is getting real fast. And then I watched for another 2 hours, and I'm like, are they going to develop this story at all?
I honestly couldn't tell you about the second episode, but the third episode is where it gets really good. And then like 4, 5, 6, and then I think it's like episode 8, they deliver literally like one of the best monologues in Star Wars ever. Like, is Star Wars known for its monologues? No. They deliver an amazing, rousing speech. Something on par with like the Golden Age of Game of Thrones. And you go, wow, does it get better than that?
Captain Shaw's holodeck speech.
Yes. And you go, wow, does it get better than that? And then literally they cut to the next scene, and it tops it. It tops it. It's even better. And you're like, wow. You go home for the week, and you're just like, I can't believe that this is Star Wars. I'm watching an adult Star Wars show.
All right,
and then
I'm sold.
They come back the next week, and they do it again.
I'm sold. I need to see this now.
It's so good.
Rogue One is one of my favorite Star Wars of all time. Like, just flat out, it deserves so much credit that it actually gets. But I'm also in the camp of, like, I'm still very much a Star Trek fan. And holy crap, if Season 3 of Picard did not just cement that into the very fiber of my being.
Jeff showed me a clip, so I still haven't watched any of Picard except for Jeff showed me a clip what was that? Was that Captain Shaw?
Was it Shaw's speech?
About Wolf
359.
359.
Hey,
holy crap.
Did you know, did your old man tell you where he and I first met? Stardate 40623.9. A little, surely you know of the Battle of Wolf 359.
You just see Picard's body, or his soul, leave his body.
The best description of that I've ever heard is I've never seen Picard look small before.
Yeah.
Picard is always
He's the man.
He's the man. He's the man you want behind everything. And in that moment, he was every fallacy and false prophet and disgraced war hero and that fiction has ever brought upon us. Because Captain Shaw was lucky number 10.
Lucky number. Oh.
And holy crap.
So good.
What a monologue. And the thing I love most, they did that in one take. It was one take.
It shows. It is so good.
Follow Todd Stashwick on Twitter if you don't already. Holy crap, he is every bit the personification of Captain Liam Shaw. But also a D&D nerd.
Yeah.
So I showed Rett. I wound up purchasing Mystic Libations, which is a book that was co-written by Todd Stashwick, Captain Liam Shaw. In fact, I have a signed copy of which. And in fact, the last time I was at the liquor store, I specifically sought out ingredients for a cocktail that's in that book. So that will be coming forthwith.
Hell yeah. Now we're talking.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing I can say about that clip from Picard, and I'll leave it at this, is that one of the weaknesses of the episodic format that is TNG and Deep Space Nine and all that is that often you get these incredibly intense, heady, immense things that happen that you then don't ever have time to thoroughly explore.
Yeah.
And then when you enter into like prestige TV territory like Picard, you can take one scene and have one character blow open something that it felt like it should have been a bigger deal on the show. All we got from Picard dealing with Wolf 359 was him going home and his brother and him wrestling in the mud.
Yeah.
And it's a great episode. I love family so much. Season 4, episode 1.
Yeah. 2.
You're right. Because we close out Best of Both Worlds.
Best of Both Worlds is
close out Best of Both Worlds.
Part 2 is season 4, episode 1.
Oh, wow.
Families is episode 2.
You're right. Wow. I do that every time.
No, I totally agree with that sentiment. Because there's so much left unsaid in a lot of episodes, and I love that Lower Decks is starting to expose those a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, Shax is alive? Oh yeah, bridge crew come back from the dead all the time. But it's an unspoken rule that you don't talk about it. And so you've got the ensign dealing with like, holy crap, he saved my life and he died in that accident and now he's alive again and I don't know that I need to know. And then finally he corners him in a turbo lift and he goes, I know I'm not supposed to ask because you'll fire me and send me off to an asteroid colony somewhere, but how are you alive? And he's like, son, are you really sure you're ready to know the ins and outs of... Okay, first off, the Celestial Temple is real and it's a fickle bitch.
So good. Almost as good as the Morrowind television program that we could have. Right? No, seriously though. I've been saying this for a long time.
Sorry, I hiccuped and inhaled my beer. Let me try again.
No, I've been saying this for a long time, Jeff. It doesn't have to be the events of Morrowind, but you take the events that transpired at Red Mountain that created the Tribunal Temple.
Ooh.
Where you have the betrayal of Endoral Nerevar by the Tribunal and Dagoth when they took the Kagranak's tools to take the power of the Heart of Lurkin for themselves, betrayed Nerevar, and became living gods unto themselves. Like, that is some Game of Thrones level stuff, man.
All right, Stephen Colbert. You've had your moment in the spotlight.
What? Hollywood, just pick up the phone. We can talk about this.
You are to Morrowind as Stephen Colbert is to Lord of the Rings.
Is he? You know, Stephen Colbert is, he got greenlit to produce a fantasy series called the Chronicles of Amber,
Yep.
which is like an old school 70s science fiction fantasy blending.
Yes.
I'd never heard of it until Colbert mentioned it, and I was like, wait, what is this? He got greenlit to produce it. I started reading the books. I'm like, holy crap, how is this not anything yet?
Yeah.
You know, yet we have Lord of the Rings and all of this other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Lord of the Rings, that's the staple, sure. I'm not disputing that, but
Right.
the Chronicles of Amber is very interesting and good. And yeah, I guess he's going to bring it to life, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah. No, if I had the same clout as Stephen Colbert had, it would already be a show. I'm talking like Game of Thrones level intrigue.
Yeah.
I'm talking like take us to the heart of Vardenfell, you know, like give us the politics of the great houses leading up to the betrayal when they literally just murk Nerevar. And if you wanted to, I mean, you could do the whole like, you know, I think you just ended there. I don't know. That's a cool story into and of itself. And then thousands of years later, you know, that's the birth of the Dunmer right there. The Dark Elves.
Totally.
You know,
Which is usually my character playthrough.
Exactly. Because you're a fan of Morrowind, the home of the Dark Elves. Azura looked at the Chimer and they're just like, I can't believe you do this. You're a bunch of jerks. And she turned their golden skin dark. That's why Vivek's half of his body is dark, half of his body is light because he was cursed.
Yep.
And anyway, I think you could do that. And you could do the bit of, you know, in Morrowind that you play where the Nerevar is resurrected, comes back as the Nerevarine, and fulfills the prophecy by murking the tribunal and taking out Dagthur. That's all cool and interesting into of itself, but it's just like not as rich. There's like all this untapped potential. We don't know what the island looked like back then. We have all the great houses which shift and survive to modern day. It would kind of be like if you had your Game of Thrones going in back and doing House of the Dragon like they have done, which is like you're watching House of the Dragon and you see all the familiarities, like they'd mention, you know, House Baratheon and Stark and all of these things. And you're like, hey, I know those people. That's so cool. But you know, it's like a completely different world because the Targaryen dynasty is still in power. Anyway, there's.
Sorry, I'm watching Rogue One.
Oh yeah, no, this is a great part.
Right. I'm taking to imprison them in prison.
Yes. Classic.
The Force is with me and I am with the Force. The Force is with me and I am with the Force. Is he deaf? I said stop right there.
Yeah, Rogue One is a great film. Honestly, though, even Solo is great.
Solo's good.
Solo's really good. Solo's really good. I did try to rewatch one of the Star Wars movies recently, and I just can't do it.
Was it Phantom Menace? Because I feel you.
Phantom Menace goes so hard. It's so awesome, and I love it. But
Okay, well then was it Attack of the Clones?
no, I love Attack of the Clones too.
I don't.
That's fine. I don't blame you for that. I have no argument to defend why I like Attack of the Clones.
That's fair.
Attack of the Clones is worse than Phantom Menace, but whatever.
Which one did you rewatch that you couldn't?
Rise of Skywalker?
Yes. Awful.
Yeah, I tried.
Awful from every measure.
I tried super hard to just like ignore all the problems, but I can't get past how important it was and significant it was.
Somehow Palpatine has returned.
That's not even. That's like that part's awful.
They fly now?
That's all really easy to make fun of.
I know it is, because it's awful.
And what I can't get past is how important it was when Rey and Kylo Ren are duking it out in Snoke's throne room for the lightsaber, and they pull it apart and it explodes.
And then suddenly 2 scenes later, it's back together again.
In the next movie, it's just they never mention it. It's just there.
It's like fuck it, yeah, no, we just have Luke's lightsaber again. It's totally cool, guys.
I'm like, how did they, like? That's a whole new level of retcon. They don't even mention how it's fixed or what. I mean, it exploded.
And not just like steel casing, but like kyber crystal and everything. Just
That
like,
was what the idea was. The explosion was the
Right.
kyber crystal shattering.
right.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yep.
I tried so hard to watch it and just like see past its faults. And guys, if you haven't figured this out, I'm so capable of suspending my disbelief. I am the most forgiving audience. I like Attack of the Clones. I like the Phantom Menace.
I don't hate the Phantom Menace. I really don't. I hate Episode 2.
Yeah, that's fine.
I hate Attack of the Clones.
That's fine. What I give Attack of the Clones is that it gave us the Clone Wars. It gave us
That there's so much retconning out of that particular storyline. I don't hate it. And honestly, if you go to Revenge of the Sith, there's so much meat to the story there as well. It's kind of hard to hate it too. But at the same time, I can't hold them up on the same platter.
You know what, though? What I love about how far we've come with Attack of the Clones is it's not a big brain or galaxy brain take to say you hate it or you love it.
Yeah.
At this point, everybody's
That's
like,
fair.
everybody's like, no, for sure.
No, it's it exists.
They're like, oh yeah, you love it? Well, I fucking hate it. Oh, sorry. Whatever. There you guys go. Just for you. They're like, love it or hate it. And they're like, really? You hate it? Well, I'm sorry. It's my favorite movie of all time. I named my child after that movie.
Right.
But that's cool. I'm glad you hate it. Like, honestly, somebody needs to. It's really not that great of a movie. I can't explain. But I love it.
I literally named my child Boba.
Yeah, it's wild how we've come that far with the prequels, you know?
It really is.
And like Phantom Menace, like, I love that movie. I don't know what it is, you know what I mean? Like,
I have some major problems with Phantom Menace.
sure,
I really do.
there are some. There are some major problems.
I partially love, but also like vehemently hate how campy the opening is. From like, the Jedi were sent as delegates of the blah blah blah, and we're here with the Trade Federation who has set up a blockade for Naboo, and
You're right about one thing, Master. The negotiations
were short. I hate it and I love it at the same time. I hate that line. I hate Ewan McGregor, but at the same time, Ewan McGregor's the best Obi-Wan Kenobi ever.
He is the man. And you know what? As much hate as Kenobi got, I'm sorry. That show was...
I loved Kenobi.
I loved it too.
I really
did.
did.
So dope. And I'm sorry. When you get Vader and Kenobi facing off with the light shifting...
Oh, God, that was such a scene.
That's peak Star Wars, man. And you know what? You don't get peak Star Wars without the worst Star Wars, except for the fact that Rise of Skywalker just sucks farts all around and there's no redeeming it.
Right.
But like when I'm saying that like Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones are redeemable, like what I'm saying is that like they are so campy as to like if you're trying to give an intellectual argument about why they're bad, you've already lost. They're that campy.
Right.
You know? Right. Thank you so much.
Another?
No. If you're trying to sit there and say why...
Rett's fighting falling asleep, and the waiter turned around and went...
If you're trying to give the intellectual argument about why Jar Jar Binks sucks, you've already lost.
Right. Because he does suck.
Everybody knows he sucks.
Right.
You're not smart for knowing that Jar Jar Binks sucks. And you know what? And if you like him, good for you, because you've overcome like silliness, you know? You've transcended.
I was in the perfect age group, and I started out liking Jar Jar Binks. But I think I understood him for what he was. He was the comic relief in an otherwise serious and political movie.
Yeah.
And
he was
there to add a bit of like, this is fucking nuts. Oh,
Whoa! You just said the.
I did. I said it on purpose.
George Lucas goes, "Hey, I need another Jim Henson puppet. How do we make this happen?" And they go, "Look, we got CGI, and let's find the best mocap guy we can, Ahmed Best." Which, by the way, what a return in The Mandalorian. He came back and took on the role of a Jedi that was responsible, spoiler alert, was responsible for liberating Grogu from Order 66.
Good God.
And it was so dope. What a great scene.
Is there a better redemption story than Ahmed Best?
The thing that sucks is that he had to endure years of hate.
22 years.
Years of hate. And I never hated Jar Jar that much. And to hear the fact that, like, to hear the fact that those movies impacted the actors so bad, like Jake Lloyd, who played Anakin, like dude, he was a kid, and if you had a problem with that, you are mentally wrong in the head, and I suggest that you seek professional help.
He was 8. You could also go for what was Rose, the new one we like to hate in the sequels.
Oh right, yeah. Like, we're not the Empire.
Finn's romantic interest.
Yeah. Except Finn,
who is not Rey.
Finn ended up with the galactic woman who rode a horse on the spaceship. So,
I mean, it makes sense.
Does it though?
Have you been with a horse lady?
Look, I'm from a small town. Of course, I know horse ladies.
There you go. I mean, I don't blame Finn in the least, but Rose got the short end of the stick.
You know what's crappy is the audience goes, "Wow, I really hate this person." Not as an actress, not as a character, as a person, and they go, "Let's get her out of there and replace her with a horse girl."
Right.
Good Lord. Well, that movie is so bad.
Suddenly, Rose is irrelevant.
You know what I will say, though? For as bad...
Somehow, Rose is...
What I will say, for as bad as Rise of Skywalker is...
They fly now?
They redeemed one shred of it in Mandalorian when he's trying to bring IG-11 back, and he takes him to those little aliens that are down there.
Yes.
That alien was first introduced in Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
I love that guy. He was so cute. He was the best part of Rise of Skywalker.
We also got the first swear of all time in Star Wars history with "I'm out, motherfucker."
What?
Yes. Did you not know that?
In what?
In Mandalorian season 3, that little dude who repaired IG-11 to IG-12, when he was introducing the droid, he goes, "What's up? I'm out, motherfucker!" And drops a motherfucker. He totally does. You need to go back and watch it. He totally does.
When he brings him back after like repairing him?
Yeah.
Like before he gives him to Grogu?
Right. Like while he's introducing him to Grogu, he's like, "Screw you, I'm out, mother effer," and totally does.
I'll rewatch that. I can believe that. That sounds.
It's amazing.
I had no idea.
Yes.
I had no idea.
So that was quite the controversy through like episode 2 and 3.
That's great. I don't care.
But yeah, no.
That's peak Star Wars.
I absolutely loved it because it's like, yeah, no, we're totally just gonna drop a mother effer in the middle of Star Wars and write it off to alien language.
Mom, what was that word the man said on the internet? Demonetized for stir. Still PG-13 unless Rett drops another F-bomb.
Rett called you a little bitch, and
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Kren is one of those people who doesn't mind Jar Jar Binks, and that's why me and Kren get along so well.
I didn't mind Jar Jar Binks, and again, I was kind of in that age group that Jar Jar Binks was aimed to. In fact, I have a good Jar Jar Binks voice. Like I can do some of the Misa. Like
you can do what?
I can do some of the Jar Jar Binks voice.
I mean, you used the right words, but that was not his voice.
Yeah. I'm not going to do it now because I'm like 6 beers in.
Guys, was that Jar Jar Binks, guys?
No, it totally wasn't. But But at the same time,
I'm just messing with you.
I know you are. But like, I was totally in the age group and target demographic of like, yeah, Jar Jar Binks is the comic relief to the, stoic Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn and the Jedi Order and everything else. And even Obi-Wan got in a couple of remarks, well, you were right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short. And that was like the best of the jokes.
I mean, that was Obi-Wan all throughout.
Yeah.
Like when he catches Anakin's lightsaber in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Like that's the equivalent of like, oh, well, you were right about one thing, Like,
don't lose that again.
Yeah. Would you like to buy some death sticks? No. You want to go home and reevaluate your life?
Rethink your life. Yes. I'm gonna go home and rethink my life. Yeah. No, and you're right. That was him throughout, and it totally was.
He was the funny Jedi Master.
Yeah.
Right behind Mace Windu.
Do you
This
have a
party's over.
Do you have a lightsaber in your pack that says BMF on it?
I love that script.
That's my lightsaber.
I just saw a clip of behind the scenes when, they're all talking about lightsabers or whatever, and blah 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 blah. And Mace goes, "Well, so what? You don't have a purple lightsaber?" And George Lucas goes, "Well, we could maybe do a purple lightsaber." And he's like, "Yeah, we probably could, couldn't we?" He's like, "Yeah, I think we will."
Yeah.
So great.
We're totally gonna have a purple lightsaber.
I mean, why would you keep it as just blue, green, and red?
Right,
Come on.
that's stupid.
Now it's tracking you.
It really what? I didn't touch anything. I swear to
it just
God.
started tracking you instantly.
It really did. There we go.
Oh my gosh. I'm excited. World Expo 23. Tomorrow, I don't know, keep your eye out on social media for some pictures, for some updates. Join the Discord server for as little as $1 a month over on patreon.com/craftcomputing. And keep your eye on our exploits, because we're going to be down on the show floor for the Augmented World Expo 2023, AWE. And we're going to be talking to all sorts of companies and checking out what is in for the future of AR and VR technology and what these companies are bringing to market, bringing to bear in the coming months. It's going to be a cool time.
Not only that, but I feel, I'm going to toot my own horn slightly here, I feel I was one of the ones who showed a lot of the AR-focused companies, a la X-Real or Rocket or whatever, that you don't necessarily have to be about AR if you focus on other markets to help develop. And
well, that was like one of the funny things, like watching like Short Circuit's X-Real Air like review or whatever.
Yeah.
He had a completely different take.
Yeah.
And it was just like, well, yeah, this is campy and I guess whatever, who knows. And it's like, meanwhile, over in craft computing, it's like, wow, this has some really cool productivity implications, Like, this has a really cool...
I would love to take this on a plane with me, which, by the way, I have footage of me on the plane using my Nreal Air today with my GPD WinMax 2 going like, this is the best flight ever.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's cool. The screen is great. It looks cool. It's like, come on. I don't know, man. Like, I guess it's the price tag, right? Maybe the price tag is where it's at, but...
Right. It's $379. It's definitely not for everyone. It's definitely outside of impulse purchase territory for a lot of people. But at the same time, if you've got Steam Deck money, 3 or 4 months later, you might have Nreal Air money. Yeah. And honestly, they're kind of a match made in heaven. And that was what my original video about them was about.
The ultimate Steam Deck accessory.
Right.
So... yeah, I'm excited to see, like, AR and VR is kind of dear to me in particular. It's why I'm actually here at Craft Computing, because I was doing a project in game development, and I was interested in showing my partner about VR, and the only person I knew with VR happened to be a guy sitting right next to me. And so we went over and talked to him about VR and the implications of the technology and what's in store for it in the consumer side of things. And here we are 5 years later.
And this is before I was an influencer.
It really was.
It really was. It was just like, This is just a guy who loves what he's doing and like rented a space above a bar to show other people how cool VR was.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah.
I've said multiple times, like, everyone asks if like I'm living my best life and I'm doing what exactly I would be doing otherwise. And my answer was always yes. I did this crap anyway. It's just now I turn a camera on.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we do have a couple super chats. Tech Geek chimes in with $5. Thank you again, Tech Geek. I have a jar of jars. His name is Jar Jar. When you shake it, Jar Jar clinks.
Nice. Nicely done.
Yes. For some reason, the tracking turned back on. Hold on. We'll get it. There we go. No, stop.
Aha! You're mine.
We're still in beta on the camera. I'll let you know later. And then Eric chimes in with $20. Thank you very much, Eric. Just been heading home from a shift at Intel and wanted to ask, what's a good service to rent a decently powerful Windows VM to host a custom game server that isn't gPortal or other game server rentals? Honestly, you can get something done with either AWS or Linode or anyone that lets you rent a bespoke graphics card or graphics card instance, and not necessarily a cloud gaming service. Anyone that allows you bespoke graphics card access inside of a VM, you can run games, and you can run services that will allow you to stream that game to thin clients with very little latency, a la Moonlight or Sunshine or Parsec or the like. And so anyone that allows you bare metal access to a GPU or even virtualized access to a GPU is probably a service to check into. Services like Linode, our sponsor for today, they limit themselves to Linux VMs, but they do also offer dedicated and virtual GPU instances in their cloud services, which you can install something like Moonlight and then stream to a device of your choosing. So lots of different things out there. Novella Hub says you still have daylight behind you. That's because we're on the best coast.
Indeed. Let's see.
I got lots of daylight left.
Let's see. Sunset is not until 40 minutes from now.
Yeah, 8:51. So we got a little bit of time.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
And we still have a little bit of daylight after that. So about 90 minutes of daylight left.
I got a little bit of beer left, which means I have a little bit of time to call an Uber still.
There you go. Perfect.
And with that, I think that's going to do it for Talking Heads, episode 287, if I remember correctly. Join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Good Lord, I still can't get used to that. For the latest in beer and tech news. This has been a lot of fun. We are here at Faultline Brewing.
Faultline Brewing,
Faultline
baby.
Brewing in Sunnyvale, California, right outside the Bay Area, just outside San Jose. They have been fantastic hosts. Excellent facility. Love the architecture, but even more,
Love the beer.
their beer is fantastic. I'm not just saying this. The beer is genuinely very, very good. So if you can make it out here, if you see them on the shelf, go ahead and pick them up. You will not be disappointed.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's going to do it for us here on the show. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you next week. They don't close till 9, right?
Yeah, sure.
Sweet.